Afternoonies. Friday again. Where do these weeks go? My energy levels are a bit zapped today. I think, as everybody, is a bit with all the news we read every day. But also, well, one, I'm not sleeping that great. But two, I'm just feeling the kind of whole rat race at the minute, with always feeling like you're failing or you're only doing things at 50% of your ability, because we're all so kind of spread thin, working parents these days, trying to look after kids in the holidays, look after the dog, clean the house, do the laundry, do the washing up and the groceries, and then manage your jobs in amongst that. Not feeling like you're doing enough to entertain the kids, not feeling like you're doing your job properly because you're thinking you've got to get back at all of these. I'm just feeling a bit like the whole rat race. And when I see things about Labour going after more money again that they haven't earned, it just makes you feel even more like a slave to the system. I know that's very popular to say these days, it's a very in thing to talk about, but it really is the case, particularly in the UK, when we're taxed more than pretty much the majority of the world, and we seemingly get very little in return, increasingly little returns, like completely negative at the minute. And it just reminded me of my stepdad, who worked like an absolute grifter from a very young age, and then did really well. Grifter's probably the wrong word to use, but you know what I mean. Worked his backside off, did relatively well, middle class. He was an architect. But when it came to it, pretty much all of his money got used to pay for his care, because he got Alzheimer's, which was horrific. Even worse so when it's such a bright, intelligent person. And I think someone's ringing me. We had a neighbour, or someone we knew, who got the same care for completely zero money, completely free, because they didn't have the savings. And it just makes you wonder, like, I'm glad for them. I am glad for them that they got the great care they needed. But again, it's like, what is the point of you absolutely killing yourself, exhausting yourself, missing out on stuff with your kids because you've got to work to pay the bills? And at the minute, I feel like I'm doing more hours, but I'm left with less. So it's lose-lose at the minute. And again, many people are in the same position. I know I'm no different to masses. But you're left with less, and you're more exhausted. And you're just like, what is the point? This government right now are really, really championing the mentality of not working hard, not having any aspirations, completely kneecapping those that do work hard, who do aspire, who do graft at school and work or every hour they've got, save, do what they think what they're supposed to have been doing, and being a good citizen, putting money in the bank for a rainy day, looking after their own kids, not taking any benefits at all, never received a penny from the state, and yet the state come knocking like the Grim Reapers every day for more and more money. And like I've mentioned it before, my little daddo, who worked all of his life 6 days a week, left at the end. He had very little, had a little bungalow, but was just over the threshold, and the people came around with like a clipboard, just looking at every painting. Again, he had very little at that point, but trying to see how much they could squeeze out of the estate, like vultures on a carcass. It was rancid. And I just like, how many times do we get our money taxed, the money that we earn? How many times do the bills increase? Like, when is enough enough? Or, you know, it's very obvious to me that this particular government, as a whole anyway, but other governments just don't want us to better ourselves. I would love nothing more than to be able to pass on a load of money to kids, so they didn't have to completely kill themselves to just pay the bills, and they could just get rid of that stress from paying the bills, so they could then go on to maybe look at being entrepreneurial and have the time and energy and the kind of security to think wider and bigger and create businesses for other people to then be employed by, or even give back to community and do charity work and, you know, just broaden their horizons. It's very obvious that those above, whether you call them the parasitic elite or whatever, don't want little plebs to better themselves. They don't want you to be able to give the amazing ability to your kids to escape the kind of doom loop of work, 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 pay the bill, work, 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 pay the bill, and just have a little bit more to life. You know, they want to keep us low, downtrodden, relentlessly chasing the unattainable, you know, the carrot at the end of the stick that you can never quite grasp. Yeah, they just want you like a hamster on a wheel. They just want us kept there. Whereas other countries under leadership like Trumpy are looking at getting rid of loads of taxes, income tax, inheritance tax, freeing people up. Don't these idiots get that the more money us little plebs have, the more goes back into the system? Or like if you give money to your kid as inheritance, they're not going to just hold on to it, they're going to spend it, they're going to use it again. Kind of, it's like oil greasing a machine. There'll be more oil going around, the wheels will turn better. I don't know, like if you're leaving somebody 10 million, maybe have some tax on that. But generally, the little amounts people inherit these days, the idea of taxing it more, it's just despicable. It's completely wicked when that money has been taxed so many times. Like, who is it for them to tell you how much money you can give your son or your wife or your dad? Like, it's your bloody money that you've worked hard for and been taxed on many times over. Such a punitive, slave-minded mentality, and I'm so sick of it. Inheritance tax just got to me today, and it's on a day where, like I said, I'm tired and the working hours seem to never end. But anyway, happy, joyful. Sorry about that. Hope you have a lovely evening and have some fun plans for the weekend. And as ever, I'm feeding the birds because it makes me feel better. Anyway, lots of love. See you later.